Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Conversations with the Love Crusader. Happy New Year again to those of you who are coming to the platform for the first time in 2025. We were on the hot seat, love seat rather, last week, and many people joined. Interesting couple we had. So it's the new year, and today we're talking about New Year resolutions. If you're coming across the platform for the first time, it's called Conversation with the Love Crusader. It's a platform where we talk about love, we talk about life, we talk about relationships. We try to have fun while we do so. So, join us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. We're currently live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Please subscribe. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook so you don't miss any of our notifications when we come on and any of our postings or our short videos. All right. Like I said, it's the new year, and there's always the slogan of New Year resolutions or New Year, New Me. All right, in the platform and in the studio with me today is Dr. Emmanuel Osebo. He's a regular anchor here, so you know him, I know him. But welcoming again to the stage. Welcome, Dr.
Thank
Sebo.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you, and Happy New Year, everyone.
All right, all right. Let's try and dig into it. New Year resolutions. What are they? What do they mean? What do they represent?
So, New Year resolutions are, well, will I say, introspective assessment of the year and planning for the new year. So, assessing where you are at and determining the things you need to do or steps you need to take in the next year as a way of getting to where you want to be. I think that's an abbreviated way of just summarizing what resolutions are. So typically when the year starts, it gives a lot of people the opportunity to pause after all the celebrations. You get to pause and you get to think and plan uh, to see what your year is going to be like. And those plans are usually based on maybe a vision or set goals that you have that you want to achieve. And that helps you to decide, okay, these are some of the things I want to see in my life going forward, or these are some of the things I do not want to see in my life going forward, as a way of getting better.
So they are like decisions we make um to want to be better in the new year. Does it also come from maybe happenings in the past year? Do people make new year
That's,
resolution based off of maybe how the past year was for them?
yes, exactly. I had said in the definition that it's also based on assessment of what has happened. And people tend to create what they want to see going forward. Often it is based on what you've experienced in the last year, and you feel like, okay, going forward to the new year, these are the things that I'm hoping to achieve or hoping to see in my life.
Hmm. Okay. So I was going to ask, and I will still ask, I was saying earlier, what are some of the funny ones that you've heard? Or maybe not funny, but common ones. I was asking my daughter and she gave me one very long list. I was like, okay, okay. So let's talk about it. What are some of the funny ones or common ones, that people
Oh,
talk about with New
common.
Year resolutions?
Yeah,
Common.
I don't know about funny ones as much, but common ones would be people resolving they want to exercise more. They want to eat.
I think that's up
They
the
want-
list. Almost everybody talks about exercising more, going to the gym, or losing weight. I think that's the top on the list. Number one on the list for everyone. Yes, go on.
Yep. And people also want to maybe eat healthier. People talk about being more positive. People talk about not complaining less. Some people talk about making more money. Um, yeah, maybe for those who are single and really want to be in a relationship, it might be one of their resolutions to be, you know, in a proper committed relationship. So it's usually general items like that that tend to be recycled year in, year out by a lot of people in terms of New Year resolutions.
So someone talked about saving money. It's not just making it that people always say, at the beginning of the year, this year I'm going to save money. And there was this post
Mhm.
that someone posted on our secondary school group where it was calculating if you save how much in one day, how much you get at the end of the year. I'm like, oh my God, so many financial advisors, you know. Then the one that we do as maybe couple, we talk about, oh, I'll be more intentional in my relationship this year, talking about, like you were saying, be more positive this year. This year, no fights, no shouting at each other. Why are you laughing now?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Maybe
common
you say you don't
too.
know funny ones. I'm not telling you some of the funny ones.
Yeah,
This
that is
year, we're
common.
not going to go to bed without resolving our issues. Please, how many people have said that thing? And within one, within 2 to 3 weeks, they are back to not talking to each other and going to bed with the malice. So there are so many examples of things that people use as um you know New Year
Resolutions.
resolutions. Some talk about academic growth. This year I'm going to
Right,
study a particular course. I'm going to
right,
grow, in this level. I'm going to learn new skill. you know
right.
I have
Yeah,
said,
that's
i
another one.
i
New
have said
hobbies.
many times that I am going
Mhm.
to hike. I cannot know how many years for how many years that I've said I will go and hike. I've also said, I'm talking about New Year resolutions that I have not been able to meet. Though I've talked about going to do the what they call the one they do from an aircraft,
Oh,
the parachute.
skydiving.
Oh yeah, the skydiving. I don't know whether Jesus will come before the day I'll get to do it. So,
Oh,
so generally, people look at the year that is going and then begin to think of what am I going to do better next year. I think that's actually, like you said, that's the reflectiveness of the whole thing. What can I do better next year? How can I be better next year? And so they begin to talk about, oh, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. And in most sense, it's positive. It's good thinking, but it just looks like we start the next minute, it's out in the window. So why? In fact, research says that only 8%, less than 10% of New Year resolutions make it to the end of the year. Please, this is something that we need to ask ourselves. Why? Help us. Why?
oh, there are many reasons why that might be the case. Um, Even when those resolutions are well thought of, properly planned, properly set in place, the truth is the year is very unpredictable. No one knows what's going to happen. So, give you an example. Somebody decides this year they are going to gym, they're going to work out, they've registered in a gym nearby, and
Mm,
part of their resolution is that they're going to maybe make more money or grow in their career. And then by middle of the year, they get transferred from their company to another place where the gym in the other place is not as good, or it's a bit more challenging now in their work schedule. Life happens a lot of the time, and
mhm,
because of those unseen or unforeseen challenges or
mm,
changes, that's one of the main reasons I think that we kind of have to adapt as we keep going, you know and sometimes some of these resolutions tend to fall aside. You have to prioritize other things, but other reasons might be procrastination. Other reasons might just be, people don't really have the will to change their habits. There's really no desire to change your habit or behavior. You're just You're just doing the new resolution to feel good, feel like you had something set up for the for the year, but in reality you just love things the way they are. So those are some of the reasons why uh, new Year resolutions tend not to get to the end.
So we've done a reflection of the year that has gone. We are now thinking we want to do better, and then we've said we this is what we are going to do better in, and then we plan it, but it still fails. And I know, I understand, and I hear what you're saying. I know that you're being very, very nice, very, very, very nice to us right now, to those of us who keep failing in keep failing in our New Year resolutions. But I think that for me, sometimes people set unrealistic goals in the first place. So in setting your New Year resolutions, do you understand the boundaries within which what you're setting would work, if you know what I mean? I mean, I could set for myself this year that I am going to I am going to this year save £1 million. It's good, right? It's good.
Mhm.
But unless there is a change in my current circumstance, I don't see how what I earn now. Do you get what I mean? If I don't earn a
Right,
million pounds in a year, how do I think of saving £1 million? Let's talk about people setting unrealistic goals.
right. And that's actually one of the big challenges when it comes to being able to see those goals till the end. It's not just that they are unrealistic. Oftentimes they are not well. You don't. It's almost as if you didn't think them through properly. To understand the full parameters of what it takes to achieve this goal that you're setting. Is in the scriptures they would Jesus will say it like this: if you're going to build a house, you need to first of all count the cost to decide or to determine if you have what it takes to complete it, so you don't start that project and leave it
Mm,
halfway. It's
mm,
wisdom. So but to do that, it means you would have fully assessed that goal before you're able to determine everything that is needed around the goal, and to be
mhm.
sure you have all the necessary resources to make that goal happen. And
Yeah.
then, of course, factor in your own self assessment. I think that's where people miss it the most. We all tend to think more highly of ourselves than we should. We all think the best thoughts about ourselves, and it's okay to think and to feel good about yourself. But when it comes to maybe setting goals for yourself, it's important to be honest with yourself. If you know you're somebody, for example, that you just don't have the habit of sleeping early, and then you're setting a goal all of a sudden to go to bed by 7 p.m., when for the last 6 months you've been going to bed by 2 a.m. I mean, you need to at least factor in that this is me and this is how I am, and be honest with yourself. And then you can maybe take baby steps in how you approach, the goals, what you're setting, set something achievable. There is something they call SMART goals. I'll just mention each one of them. The goal should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, it should be
Mm,
relevant, and it should be time bound. Smart goals. If you're looking to set goals for the year, if you haven't done so already, I think you should look into the word smart goals and just read up on it to give you a sense of how you can structure your goals in such a way that to a very large extent you stand a chance of achieving them.
okay. Should we now say, because there are some people that I've met who have said, I don't even bother about setting New Year resolutions. There's no need. Maybe just because um they are not going to be able to, they feel okay, it's not going to work. New Year resolution is going to fail. So why should I even bother? Is that a right attitude? Someone said, I am now going to the gym for the first time in my life. First time in my life. Oh, wow, really? Oh, that's good, Lisa. Not a New Year's resolution, but a decision and choice. No pressure, but I'm intentional. Okay, so I think being intentional about the goals is what she's talking about here. It's not whether it's New Year or not. But should we now say, since it's not working, I mean, only 8%, that's really, really low. If only 8% of New Year resolution make it to the end of the year, maybe we should just forget about it. Let's not even make New Year resolutions. What do you say?
So it will seem like a cynical view, but again, it's part of what we've mentioned, the feeling of, are these goals actually achievable? Is it something that you can really do? Because if it's just to make you feel good at the beginning of the year, then yeah, it will be over, and then you're wondering what was the point of it in the first place.
Mm,
But if you do go about it, put a lot of thought and energy into planning, and in the middle of doing that, part of the resolution should be your willingness to accept not hitting the very target itself 100 perfection. Let me use the word perfection. A willingness to not, hold so tightly to perfection. In other words, if you have a target of meeting 80 or 90, and at the end of the day you hit 75, it is still better than zero, right? It is better than zero. And so that's one way of putting it. Um, there's another saying people have, that in basketball, that you miss 100% of the shots you do not take, right?
mm,
So if you're not even taking the shot at all, then you've
I
already
like
even
that.
missed a good goal. So take the shots, right? If you miss two, you may get one. Who knows? So it's better you have resolutions or goals or plans, and not be able to get all of them, but get somewhere around them. It gives life a sense of direction, right? It gives a sense of what we are looking forward to, something to live for, right? But if you now hold on to perfection, then it's very easy to become cynical and say, well, what was the point? I didn't achieve all the goals I set out. But look at it, you perhaps achieved 50%, 40%, still better than zero.
So, in other words, just take it easy on yourself. Some people are very brutal with themselves, and like judge a bit judgmental of themselves. Oh, I didn't get this. I didn't get. I used to be like that. I think I'm getting better. you know, I pressure myself too much sometimes, and I feel like I have to do some things in a certain way and at a certain time, and I get impatient with myself if I feel like it's not happening at that time and I'm not able to meet it as so. That's a good one, and that's one for me too. That you got to celebrate the little wins. I think that's the word I learned that changed my perspective. What it means to celebrate little wins, to be grateful for where you are on the way to where you're going, even if you're not there yet. You know,
Right.
so how these people say, "Oh, I may not be where I am now, but I'm not where I used to be." That's a good way to look at it. To help yourself to not be discouraged, because sometimes it's even that midway feedback that discourages us from finishing.
Right.
So when you feel like, so it's already June and it's only 30% of this thing I've been able to do, what's the essence? So
Oh,
let
you
me just
wanted to
give up.
lose 50, you wanted to lose 50 pounds, and you put in all that effort. And by June, mid-year, you're like, it's only 5 pounds. What was the point? So
That's a very good example, because losing weight, oh my God, it's like, to add it is so easy, to lose it is a problem. Even when you think you've done so much, you look at the scale and you'll be like, geez, after all this work, this is where I still am, you know.
right.
And sometimes you are not tempted to, what's the essence? Give up on the gym going, give up on the dieting, give up on the, midway, you get discouraged. But if you can just celebrate that two kg, that 1 kg, that, on the way to getting the 10, and then now make it a habit, because I think this is where another place where we lose this team, when we don't understand that we are creatures of habits, and the results we get come from our everyday habits. And
Right.
habits, you create habits from doing things all the time. From repeatedly doing something, it becomes a habit. So if you just start it and you feel like, oh, I've done it once, I've done it twice, it's not working. I beg, let me just give up. Why am I, why am I
Right.
continuing this? Then you discover that you just end up, you miss the 100% shot. That word was
Right.
was powerful right now. You miss
So
100% of shots not taken. I heard
yeah,
it somewhere. I heard it somewhere. So
yeah.
want
So
to marry
so
this year? Shoot your shots. Tell me.
more than just pursuing, a target, I think from what you've hit on, which is so important, is becoming a better version of yourself. Like you said, habits, we're creatures of habits. So it's
Mm,
important to have goals, but on our way towards achieving those goals, what we are changing, the changes that are happening in us is even more important
mhm.
because we are imbibing new cultures, a new mindset, a new mentality, a new approach. We are becoming better, not just about what it is we're trying to achieve.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree. I agree with you. Becoming better, and I dare say that becoming better is the foundation for the achievements. You know how they say sometimes that your attitude is like a bad tire. You can't really go far without changing your attitude. I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes we've set goals to achieve, and they are actually achievable, but some things need to change in us.
Right.
And if those changes don't happen, then the goals might even become more challenging to achieve. That's how I feel though. Let's narrow it down to love. What are some of the Emmanuel is laughing because we're having
Yeah.
we were having a very funny conversation off air about New Year resolutions that people do in relationships. So, what are some of the ones you've heard? What are some of the ones you know about? What are some of the ones you think people have said? Okay, this year, I know that I've heard singles who say, "This is my year. I'm going to get married," but
Amazing.
but they don't do anything different from what they were doing last year. They don't go out. They don't join youth fellowship. They don't mingle with other young people. In fact, they don't do social media. As much as we know in this generation now that lots of marriages are happening via social media, you don't have social media presence. If somebody even say hello, you squeeze your face. You are not approachable, you are not reachable. But you want to marry this year, you will still end up. I'm sorry, okay, let me not discourage them.
Miracles do happen.
How? Faith
It's called
without
the
works is
miracle.
dead.
It's called the miracle.
Faith
Oh
without
man.
faith without works is dead. So if you're going to marry, okay, let's leave marriage. I know we're talking about love. Somebody who is a young man, for example, who wants to marry, he doesn't have a job. He's still living with his parents, you know, not because he can do it and he's just still living with his parents. So he's living with his parents because he cannot feed himself. How much more to feed someone else? And he says 2025 is my year to marry. So that's, you are waiting for a miracle.
Yeah, well, getting the job will be a miracle, right? To start with.
That should be the first start. So I think
Right.
that kind of person now will be misplacing priorities.
There
You
you
know,
go.
someone said the word New Year resolution is pressure to me personally. So this year I'm intentional about things I want to achieve. Less pressure. I like the word. So she's replacing New Year resolution with intentionality. Correct. Hey, work generation. So it's about being intentional and not just saying, this is my New Year's resolution. I think I agree to an extent that whatever it is you want to do, whether it's mid-year, whether it's New Year, whether it's half year, whether it's end of the year, there has to be that intentionality about it. Even your relationships. To enjoy a good relationship, there has to be intentionality about the relationship, right?
Right. There has to be intentionality about it. And Intentionality still requires a target. There has to be something that we're being intentional about. So
Of course.
in a way, we're still setting a goal, we're still creating a plan, we're still working around something at the end of the day, right? But yes, in relationships, we often find ourselves, we're talking about it often about regressing to the mean, just going back to our default. The truth is, if you assess 2024 as a year where you were not as happy or did not enjoy your relationship as much as you'd have loved to, then 2025, you cannot just regress to your default and say, let's just see how it goes. Because you will do things the way you've always done them because you're still you, right? So the one of the things that having a goal, a plan, something you're looking forward to does, at least it initially forces you to try to do things a bit differently
Mhm.
in the view to get, a different outcome. So it is important in our relationships. If you're already in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship and you want to be in a relationship, then be somebody that can be in a relationship, be relationship material, you know, um, right? And then hopefully you hit the target. Some of the things that I think I was looking online and I saw some of the things people indicated as resolutions. So for Christians, you have Christian couples will say, for example, they want to read the Bible together, they want to pray more together, they want
Mm.
to spend quality time, they want to do more community work together. There's one that I like that I saw online. It was like minimizing unhealthy arguments, and they indicated argue less unhealthily. So it's not like we won't argue, but we will do it in a healthy manner, and then
And to an
improving.
extent, that's more realistic than the person who says, this year we're not going to fight. This year we're not going to fight. It's not true. It's not possible that you will not fight. But to say we're going to argue more heavily or we're going to have more healthy arguments, yeah, I think that's an achievable goal if both are involved. So now let's come to in couples and in relationships. The challenge I see majorly with resolutions, plan, goals is that it feels sometimes like it's a one-man show. So only one person is seeing the need for this change or for this target or for these actions to be taken. How does that work? Because I always say it takes two to tango. Can I wake up today and say, all right, 2025 is my year not to go to bed angry, and I can
You
actually
can,
what if
you
the
can.
person I want to talk to when I'm angry doesn't want to talk back, don't want to talk to me? And then we couldn't have the conversation. Will I stay up and not sleep and say, okay, because I said I'm not going to bed angry, I'll be awake all
Yeah,
night?
you're absolutely right. The biggest hindrance in relationship when it comes to relationship based goals is the fact that you have two people that have to now work as one unit. And oftentimes, functioning as one unit is impeded by different things as you go through life throughout the year. It's not, there has to be a commitment by both parties to say, regardless of what circumstances we face or whatever happens, we are committed to this plan or these goals, and we will both continue to make effort to make it happen. It's not very easy because usually what people do when they're maybe angry, upset, disappointed, frustrated is they let go of the rope. It's just human nature. So it requires a lot of intentionality to say I'll still hold on to the rope, even if right now all I feel like doing is just throw both the baby and the bath water and throw everything away all at the same time. And that's usually why, because think about it. If we both say, oh, let's do this, we think this is going to be a great goal. And then somewhere along the line, I am doing it, and the other person is feeling like, you know what, I'm upset or whatever it is that's going on. I don't feel like doing this anymore. It drains the energy out of being able to continue putting in effort into making that thing happen in the relationship.
Hmm. Mm, So this is the challenge. Here is the challenge really, when you have two people who need to agree, because um yeah, I don't mean to quote the Bible, I'll say it. Can two work together except they be agreed? So I always used to say that marriage is a it's an embodiment of agreements. Every day we have to agree. We have to agree on the goals that we're going to set. We have to agree on how we're going to achieve these goals. Then we have to both be determined and disciplined, like someone has said here, to be able to keep up with those resolutions. Whether we're making them in the new year, we're making them in the middle of the year, or anytime in the year as a couple, then there needs to be that agreement, both of us working together towards the goals. And usually, I know you've mentioned the other person maybe being angry or whatever and dropping the ball. It's quite frustrating for the other two who is trying to keep these goals, you know, try to remember that, okay, this is what we said we were going to do. While the other person is just off, going another way, different totally from what was agreed from the onset. It's quite frustrating, I find.
Yes.
And so I think some couples have come to the point where they are not even setting goals anymore. You know how those things they say couples goals. They're no longer
Mm-hmm.
setting it because in the long run, it's going to fail. They already feel it's going to fail because maybe the other person will not agree. But we're just saying it to you now. You're watching this, you're listening to this. Um, you are going to I'm going to go back to that statement Emmanuel made. He said how they say it in basketball. It's just the first time I've heard it, and it really resonates with me. He said you miss 100% of the shots, no, of the shots not taken. If you take the shots, chances are you could get 50%, you could get 60%, you could get 80, which is wow, that's excellent in the first place. But if you say, oh, because we've tried, in so ways before, it didn't work, I'm done trying, then you're missing the entire 100% of what could have been. That's what we're really saying. Okay, let's run through some of the examples. How you were running through some of the examples that couples can use as maybe New Year's resolutions, or maybe let's not call it New Year resolutions, so that according to Lisa, people will not be under pressure. Okay, let's say things that let's reward it, things that couples can be intentional about in 2025. Does that make sense? Let's say, what are some of the things that couples can be intentional about in 2025? There are a lot of them, and some of
Right.
them are very funny to me. I'm trying to write them. Someone said once said join a gym together.
Mm-hmm.
What if one wants to lose weight, the other doesn't want to lose weight? You just escort
There
the
you
other person
go.
to
Well,
the gym.
if the person doesn't want to lose weight, the person might want to be healthy. Exercise is not only for weight loss, it's also to have a healthy lifestyle,
Uh-huh.
right? And the healthier, the selling point would be the healthier we are, the more we can invest into loving each other, right? Sounds great. Win-win. So it's a good one if you can both get on the same page. It's usually a challenge when I've met people that tell me they don't like exercise for anything, So if you know that your spouse doesn't like exercise, I mean, absolutely hate it, you might be careful how you encourage them to join you in the goal, and you might have to create their own baby steps that are really, really different from your own steps that you're taking, so that they can come along on that journey without completely just hating the whole thing and walking away from it midpoint. But yeah, that's a good example.
I think that the umbrella of it really is about doing things together. It doesn't really have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be a gym. So we don't scare some people now. Emphasis is
Right.
really on what can we do together, the word togetherness. How do we improve on our togetherness? What goals can we set that can help us be like would some people are living together but they are strangers with each other. They are not doing things together. They are living in the same house but leading separate lives. So for couples like that, they can come out and say 2025, what can we do?
Mhm.
What do you like doing that I like doing, and find a common ground that we can always do together. So it doesn't have to be the gym. That's my or what do you think? That's my thought about it.
Yeah, so I think like we said when we talked about the person that needed to first of all get a job before talking about a relationship.
Mm,
If there are couples that maybe they've never set goals together, they've never done it, then one of the first goals they definitely need to do is just set goals around communication. How and what we communicate, the
mm,
approach towards two of us coming together, because there is no togetherness that will not involve some kind of communication. So if we establish a good, what I say, healthy plan for our communication, then perhaps through that communication channel, we can start to set other things,
mm.
other activities, other areas of interest, or things we would like to explore together. It's now easier to do all those things. But if we don't have improvement, or something going well when it comes to communication, every other thing we can set it up, but you'll find that the two people will come together, and instead of doing the things they set out to do, they may end up just going at it, and everybody go back to, like you said, being strangers living in the same space. So communication, I think, is if you're a couple and you're thinking about this, that's one I would certainly highly recommend you think about, because it's the bedrock for every other goal that you're looking to achieve in your relationship.
And communication, as you mentioned it now, sounds so simple. I don't know why communication is like, okay, I don't know of any other person, but you see me, I can talk to anybody. Oh. Like, if you stand me in front of King Charles, I can assure you that I would not lose what to say. If you put me in front of a crowd, I know what to say. But I kind of seem like not to find the right words when it comes to my house, when I'm not sitting with my spouse. It feels like I don't
Mhm.
have the right words, or I'm not, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes why does it seem so difficult? As simple as communication, you would say communication should be. Why do we find it difficult to sit down and actually have many couple? And I'm telling you this for a fact. 2025 has come. We've already gone 2 weeks in 2025, so to speak. Some people have not sat down together to say, what is it in this year for us? What's our goal for this year as a family, as a couple? Where are we going? What's the direction? So we all know, what it is. Where we are all chasing a common goal as a family. Is that too much to ask?
No, it sounds plausible and easy, but one of the reasons why communication is preached and why it is still one of the most tricky things in relationship is because emotions are involved, and usually in relationship there are histories. You tend to know the person a little bit, or tend to have built a certain mindset
Mm,
about your spouse or partner. And then, of course, there are triggers and buttons. There are so many things that make it a bit more complicated in a relationship than maybe speaking in a crowd or just talking to somebody. You don't really have any. You just being objective in your presentation, right? Objectivity also goes out the window a lot within in relationship, which is why I'm really just mentioning it as one of those things I think, even for myself personally, something I would like to improve on relationship wise, in the year 2025. How can I communicate better? How can I communicate in a way that creates understanding? How can we do it in a better way? Because once we start seeing eye to eye and we start communicating freely and exchanging ideas, then we can pick on something new goals, new this, action in the bedroom, or new investments, whatever they may be that we want to do as a couple. We can then communicate around those ideas and build a plan around those ideas, and then together we'll continue to communicate as we try to achieve those ideas. So it's really very important when it comes to things like goals and resolutions.
Okay. Yeah. We're almost coming to the end of the conversation today. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. If you're not following us on Facebook, please go follow Men Fences on Facebook. Follow the Love Crusader. Ask questions, talk to us. We have a WhatsApp number attached to our Facebook page. If you send messages on it, I'll get it directly. It comes straight to me. You have questions. We have Q&A sessions on Conversation with the Love Crusader. If you want us to answer your question on air, just talk to us. We would answer it anonymously. Don't worry, people will not know it's about you. So ask your questions. Tell us what you're going through in your relationship. Tell us what you want to see improve in 2025. What are the areas? How do you want to see it get improved? Because it's not enough to say you want to see it improve. It's in the intentionality. And I think Lisa has given me that word to continue to use for today. Is intentionality of whatever goals you have set together in oh, someone said I should do phone ins. People should be able to phone in because it's easier to express. Oh, all right. Excellent suggestions. We'll work on it, Lisa. We'll definitely work on it and give people the opportunity to phone in during our live show. Great one. That's a good one. Good suggestion, Lisa. We'll work on it. So be more intentional with your relationship. Things that you can do better in 2025 when you can use to set goals. Make time for sex. The bedroom. I will talk about it. Let's talk about the bedroom. Most times in those days when I was quite young, my parents were into marriage counseling and all of that. And you find some couple who come to my parents, and the man will be saying, she's a wicked woman. She's a very wicked woman. Very, very wicked and stubborn woman. And then you ask specifically, what did she do? She's wicked. She's a very wicked woman. And the woman is saying, this man, is a bad man. He said, this is a useless man. Is this one a man? What did he do? People find it difficult to hit the nail on the head because the bedroom is sick. Every other thing, in most cases, is sick. So somebody say, let me close my ears. You better open your ears or you will need it very soon. Your marriage is set. This 2025. You're one of those that are setting goals for 2035 because I need to come and do that your wedding, Lisa. Okay, anyways. Lisa says she wants to close her ears. Don't close or learn. Emmanuel, what do you think? Is that one of the things we should look at to improve in 2025? The bedroom.
Absolutely. So if I'm going to put it on a scale, if we start with communication, then the next in line would definitely be sex in marriage. It is super important because it's unique. It's the one thing that just stands on its own. And somehow we just by default expect to just act by default and think things will change and improve. I don't get it, but anyway.
2024, we're not going to act by default. We have to do new things. We have to find new ways. We have to find ways to make these things better.
So we learn, right? Everybody learn how to use a cell phone. Everybody learn how to use the internet. We have the capacity to learn. And if something is important to us, we would find it. And the funny thing, it doesn't even matter your age. So it's not a matter of, oh, this is for young generation or this for the younger couples. No. Everyone, even my parents that are really elderly, know how to operate A phone,
I wonder.
internet,
Yes.
social media, very well. They learned.
Yeah.
So if you said it, if you understand how important a healthy sexual relationship is to your relationship, how it improves the and increases and blesses the flow of your relationship, then you would prioritize it the same way you would make your finances or healthy lifestyle, everything else, a goal that this is what we're going to do, and you take the time to plan around it, to read around it, to get resources, to the effort, the level of effort that it takes to just improve in other aspects. You ought to put that same amount of attention and level of effort into your sexual relationship this year. And it's going to help your relationship be better. And you will thank us for it.
Fantastic. Look, if you know how I'm loving that example you just gave, because some people act like that cell phone is more important than their marriage. Let me break it down. You see how they take care of the phone, how they charge it, they don't allow the battery die, how they continuously buy, recharge, recharge it, what do they call it? Airtime, data, to keep that cell phone going. But people can't even put half of that effort into their relationships. They don't put half of that effort into their bedrooms. You come to the bedroom and you keep repeating the same thing all over and over again. You keep doing the same thing. The worst is there are some couples, so maybe some of them are learning from what we've been teaching them here. One person is now learning to be outspoken. So your partner is saying, I don't like this thing, I'm not enjoying it. You don't care. They're saying, this thing we're doing, Augusta, it's like it's a one-way traffic. Oh, I'm not in it, I'm not getting it. But you don't care. Yeah, as long as you are and life is good with you, so we must just continue that way. No, 2025 should be our year to learn and unlearn and do new things. Okay, we are going to have a month for bedroom talk. You know how we do it. One whole month we'll talk about the bedroom this year, 2025. But that's not, so it's not our topic for today, but that's another aspect of the relationship for which somebody can choose to be intentional in 2025. Okay, we've talked about communication, we've talked about the bedroom, we talked about doing things together, in 2025. What else do you want to add, Emmanuel?
Well, there are others that mention things like understanding your spouse's love language and speaking
Mm,
it this year. Sounds like a
mm,
goal, right? You want your
yes.
spouse to feel loved. So figure out what it is and just do it. Now, it may not even be your thing at all, but if you figure out that this is the thing that gets to it for your spouse and fills up their love tank, guess what? You're almost certain to enjoy a happy relationship with a spouse that feels loved. So make it a goal, a priority to fill your spouse's love tank. I think that's a great goal to have.
Mm, fantastic one and very good one. And I think that takes care of the frustration that people express when they say, but I take care of her. I do things for her, like I buy her gifts. I'm always spending money on her. What does she want? Or I do this for him and I do that for him. But, he still feels it's as if all those efforts is wasted. It's not seen. It's not appreciated. Maybe what you're doing is not what they want you to do. So again, comes back to communication. Have the conversation. How am I feeling your love tank? Am I hitting
Mhm.
the right notes? Because I could think myself a good keyboardist, but I'm playing off key.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
doesn't, it doesn't mean that I don't know how to play the keyboard. But if
Hmm.
I am not playing to the key of the singer, then I'm certainly playing off key. And what would have been a melodious sound was going to turn out to be, a distorted noise in the long run.
Right.
So that's a very great and valid point you've made. What is your partner's love language? What do they like? What do they not like? And what are you doing about it? Do you know what it is they like? Then, if you do know, are you doing it? Are you giving them, if you read that book about the 5 love languages, Gary Chapman says it's like filling water, and just pouring it on the floor.
Mm.
Wasted effort. You're
Mm.
just touching the water, you're pouring on the floor instead of pouring it into the right drum, instead of filling the drum of your partner. So I think this year we should also be more intentional. I keep using that word,
Right.
we're not talking New Year resolutions, we're talking intentionality. Intentional in knowing ourselves. So no pressure, people. Don't feel any pressure. Let's be intentional
Mhm.
in knowing the other person. What do they like? How do they like to be talked to? How do they like to be held? How do they like to be loved? Let's ask ourselves that question so that it is not, I'm doing everything, and yet everything I'm doing is not making the mark. All right. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain today. But as you know, even when we are offline, the conversation can continue. Leave your comments at any time you come across this video. Leave your comments, share your thoughts with us. Send us a message on WhatsApp. You have a question, send us a question. You need counseling. Please reach out to us. We also offer marriage counseling. We offer premarital classes because it's important for you to know about a thing before you jump into it. There's a lot of people jumping into marriage and you don't know what marriage is about. So we offer premarital classes and premarital counseling. Is that person right for you? Before you say yes, before you say I do, before you start singing to all the butterflies in the stomach, have you confirmed that this person can go the long way with you? Because marriage is a lifetime journey. It's not we go and return. We don't want to go and return. We want to be able to go and stay until death do us part. And not just staying in something that we do not enjoy. Because lots of people are enduring the marriage. Or lots of people are in it because they don't know where else I don't have option. Where else will I go to? Where do I start from again? The goal is not to endure it, but to enjoy it. That's God's original purpose for it. So we want you to enjoy your relationships. And we believe that with you being intentional about your love life, your relationship, and your life in general in 2025, then we can all achieve our goals if we're intentional about meeting them. Thank you, Emmanuel, for
Thank
stepping
you.
at short notice. My Titi is feeling under the weather today, so send your prayers to Titi. She was supposed to be the one on the show today, but I think we've had a fantastic time with Emmanuel. Thank you so much for stepping at short notice and for a wonderful conversation. Thanks to all of you. I see you who have left your comment, Facebook, those who joined us on Facebook, those who have joined us on YouTube, Charity, Lisa, Grace, my husband. Thank you all. Thank you all. So many people. I can't mention everyone's name. Thank you everyone for engaging with us. Let's keep the conversation going. The next best thing you can do is to share this video. Tell your friends about this platform. Encourage them to subscribe. And I hope that you take the learnings and you practice them, because that's where, that's where the blessing comes from. That's where things change. If you're not intentional about changing anything, even if we teach, even if we learn, even if we have a conversation about it, nothing will change. So be intentional about making the changes in 2025. It is stupidity to do the same thing, same way, and
A different
expect
result.
a different result. If you want a different result in 2025, please and please start doing things differently. Thank you, Lisa. So God bless you. Charity said we don't like reading. It's true. People don't like reading. And that is why this kind of platform is here. In those days, we didn't have this kind of teachings, on air. So even if you cannot read a book, you are not somebody that likes to read a book, you don't like to read a manual, come and watch video. At least you can watch videos, do one. There's no way. Find a way that you can seek knowledge that suits you. The knowledge is everywhere now. It's on Google, it's in churches. Even churches are becoming more aware. They're talking more about it than they used to. Please don't die in silence. Let's all learn, let's unlearn, let's relearn, and let's make 2025 our year to be intentional about our love life. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. We'll see you next week with another wonderful edition of Conversation with the Love Crusader. Until then, have a love-filled week. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, everyone. I love you. Thank you for watching today's video. We appreciate you. Kindly remember to subscribe and share so you can get notification every time we post new videos. Our promise is to ensure that you flourish in love, in life, and in your relationships. See you next week.